I called off my engagement. After my fiancée said she needed a break to reconnect with her ex, I went ahead and sold the house and just vanished. Hey folks, feels like it's been forever, but I figured it's finally time to share what's been going on with me. Up until not long ago, I honestly thought I was about to marry the woman of my dreams, Megan, who's 25. We'd been together for 3 solid years, and as far as I could tell, everything between us was going great. But now, sitting here, I keep asking myself how I didn't catch the signs sooner. We first met at a birthday party, introduced by a mutual friend. She had this sharp wit, a bold personality, and a direct way about her that I really liked. I'd been in relationships before, but none felt quite like this. We clicked almost right away and ended up moving in together about 7 months in. It all felt easy, like we were aligned on everything, our careers, getting married someday, and starting a family. She was a freelance graphic designer, and I was working as a project manager for a tech company, so our daily routines meshed pretty well. It wasn't a flashy life, but it was a happy one. We'd been tossing around the idea of marriage for a while, and then last year, I proposed. It wasn't some grand gesture, just a simple dinner at home, just the two of us. She looked over the moon, started crying, hugged me, and said yes. That night, we started painting a picture of our future together. A cozy fall wedding, just close family and friends, in this cute lakeside venue we both loved. It really felt like things were coming together. But the early warning signs were subtle, little things I brushed off. Stuff that didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Like how her excitement for wedding planning gradually fizzled out. In the beginning, she was all in, sending me Pinterest boards, picking out dresses online, even debating flowers for the centerpieces. Then, out of nowhere, it all just stopped. I'd ask her stuff like, "Hey, have you picked your bridesmaids yet?" And she'd just wave it off. "I'm still thinking about it," she'd say, over and over. Same thing with the dress, the cake, the music. Everything we were once hyped about suddenly became something she kept putting off. She kept saying there was still plenty of time. But the wedding started feeling like it was no longer important to her. At the time, I chalked it up to stress. Planning a wedding can get overwhelming, right? And she was also juggling a lot at work. I figured she'd get back into it once things settled down. What I didn't see back then was that her disinterest wasn't really about the wedding, it was about us. The real gut punch happened one night while we were out with some friends. Someone brought up one of those silly TikTok games, you know the kind, where you answer personal questions without reacting or judging each other. It was all laughs until someone asked, if you could relive any past relationship, which one would it be? And just like that, without missing a beat, Megan said, "Oh, probably Chase." Yep, Chase. Her ex from college. The same guy who cheated on her. As soon as she said it, you could feel the air go out of the room. She let out a nervous laugh and tried to cover it up with, not that I'd actually want to. It's just a big part of my history. I wanted to call her out right then and there. But we were surrounded by friends, so I let it slide. Later that night, when it was just the two of us, I brought it up. I asked her what that was all about, why she'd even think about going back to that relationship. She just shrugged and brushed it off, like it was nothing. "It was just a dumb game, Ryan. Don't read too much into it," she said with a smile and changed the subject. I didn't push it, mostly because I didn't want to start a fight over something that might have been harmless. But honestly, it stuck with me. After that, the changes in her behavior became a lot harder to ignore. She was glued to her phone more often, smiling at texts in this weird, flirty way. She started bailing on plans, always with some vague excuse. "Sorry, I've got a pile of work tonight," she'd tell me. Or, "I promised my mom I'd stop by this weekend." Nothing that raised big alarms on its own, but it was becoming a pattern. It started to feel like I was drifting further down her list of priorities. Then came that Friday night, the one that flipped everything on its head. I got home a little earlier than usual, looking forward to a quiet night with her. Thought we could grab takeout and watch something together, just chill. But when I walked in, the whole vibe was off. She was sitting on the couch with her laptop open, but she definitely wasn't doing any work. She was just staring at her laptop, completely zoned out. I quietly said, "Hey, I'm home," hoping maybe that'd ease the tension. Instead, she looked up and said, "You're early," like it was some kind of inconvenience. I let it slide and walked into the kitchen to start putting dinner together, but the quiet in the house felt heavy. Normally, she'd ask how my day went or tell me something about hers, but that night, nothing. Just silence. Eventually, I turned to her and asked if everything was all right. She closed her laptop and gave me a look. Actually, there's something I need to talk to you about. And right then, my gut dropped. You ever get that feeling where you know something bad's coming, and there's not a thing you can do to stop it? That was me, standing there like a fool, still holding a spatula. I walked over and sat down across from her. Okay, I said, trying to keep calm. What's going on? She paused for a bit, like she was trying to figure out how to break the news. Then she just said it. I've been thinking about us. And about Chase. I almost laughed right there. Chase? You've got to be kidding. What about him? She bit her lip and wouldn't look at me. I think I need some time. I want to take a break and see if there's still something between us. I sat there stunned, trying to process what I just heard. You're telling me you want to take a break so you can date your ex? I asked, barely able to believe it. We're engaged, Megan. She rushed to respond, trying to smooth it over. It's not like that. I need to be sure I'm making the right decision by marrying you. Then she added, if it doesn't work out, I promise I'll come back. And that's when it hit me how bold she really was. She actually thought I'd just sit around and wait for her to figure out whether I was good enough. Something inside me shifted in that moment. I didn't yell, didn't lose it. I just looked at her, stunned I hadn't seen it sooner. I didn't even know how to respond. My fiancée just told me she wanted time apart to see if her feelings for her ex were still real. What do you even say to something like that? Finally, I asked, so what exactly does this break mean to you? My voice came out steadier than I felt. She straightened up a bit, like she'd been ready to have this conversation. I think we need some space. I want to see if what I feel for Chase is real. And maybe you can take the time to think about us too. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Wait a second, I said, leaning forward. You're telling me you need to go revisit your relationship with Chase, and I'm supposed to sit here and reflect on us? That make any sense to you? Megan sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. Ryan, this isn't about you doing anything wrong. I just need to figure out what I want. It sounded rehearsed. The way she talked, the way she avoided looking at me, it was like she'd already made up her mind and just wanted me to accept it. I shook my head. You do realize how crazy this sounds, right? I muttered. You don't just hit pause on an engagement to go chase after a guy who treated you like dirt. Her expression hardened, and that's when I saw a side of her I hadn't really seen before. I'm not asking for your permission, Ryan, she said coldly. I'm telling you what I need. That hit differently. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was mad. I stood up and started pacing, trying to cool down. So what's the plan, huh? You going to pack a bag and head over to Chase's place? I asked, my voice rising. No, she said quickly. It's not like that. I don't know exactly what it'll look like. I need clarity before we move forward. I need to know I'm making the right choice. Oh, so you owe it to yourself, huh? I shot back, laughing without humor. What about what you owe me, Megan? We're supposed to be building a future together, and now you're telling me you need to take your ex out for a test drive before you commit. I never said you weren't enough, she said, her voice growing louder. But if we're going to spend our lives together, I have to be sure. And right now? I asked, though I already knew the answer. I'm not, she admitted. That was the moment it all clicked. She wasn't just curious about Chase, she wasn't even sure about me. After 3 years together, after making all these plans, she still had doubts. It hit me hard. She didn't realize how ridiculous and painful this was. In her mind, it made sense somehow. Like I was supposed to sit there quietly while she sorted out whatever nonsense was swirling around in her head. I stopped pacing and looked right at her. Really looked. You know what? I said flatly. Fine. Take your break. She blinked, clearly not expecting me to agree that quickly. Ryan, I'm not trying to hurt you. I need space to figure things out. I nodded and kept my face neutral. All right. If that's what you need, I said. She hesitated, like she was waiting for me to argue or beg her to stay. When I didn't, she grabbed her laptop and quietly said, I'll stay at my mom's for a bit. This isn't forever, she added. We'll talk when I've had some time. Okay, I replied, flat as a pancake. She looked at me, probably trying to figure out what I was thinking, then walked off to the bedroom. I could hear her rustling around, tossing stuff into a bag. I just sat there on the couch, staying calm, but my brain was already spinning. If she really wanted a break, fine. Let her have it. A few minutes later, I heard the front door close behind her. She was gone, and maybe she thought I was going to be sitting there, heartbroken and lost, just waiting for her to come back. But she didn't realize I wasn't about to sit on my hands. She could have her little journey of discovery. I had my own plans now. And this? This wasn't going to end the way she thought it would. Step 1. I called my buddy Fred. We've been tight since college, and he's not the type to sugarcoat anything. After I told him everything, he showed up with a pizza, and we spent the whole night going over it. Dude, he said, you know she's going to try crawling back once Chase disappoints her again, right? And yeah, he was right. The more we talked, the more I realized I needed to take back control. This wasn't about revenge. It was about moving on and not letting her make all the decisions. I started with the house. Funny how Megan always acted like it was our home, talking about curtains and colors like she owned the place. But the thing is, the house is in my name. I pay the mortgage. She just decorated. So Tuesday morning, I called up a realtor. They came by, looked around, and we decided to list it right away. The market's hot around here, and we've already got interest. Megan has no clue. She probably thinks I'm still sitting in the living room waiting for her to make up her mind. But I've been busy cutting her out of my life. Remember those cheesy live, laugh, love signs she insisted on hanging up? Gone. The overpriced throw pillows she just had to have? Donated. Her clothes and personal stuff? I packed everything up carefully. But instead of waiting for her to come grab it, or worse, dragging it over to her mom's myself, I hired movers. They dropped it all off at her mom's place with a little note. Here's your stuff. Good luck with Chase. Now look, some of you might think that was petty, but I don't see it that way. I'm not being spiteful. I'm just being efficient. She wanted space? She's got all the space she needs. What surprised me most was how mutual friends started reaching out. I didn't badmouth her or play the victim. I just told the truth. Megan wanted to explore things with her ex before settling down. I decided I'm not anyone's backup plan. Simple as that. You should have seen how fast people started seeing things differently. No drama, no shouting, just facts. That's all it took. Meanwhile, I've been making moves at work too. Applied for a position out at our East Coast office, something I've been thinking about for a long time. If the house sells, and it's looking like it will, and I land that job, I'll be starting fresh across the country. And now, Megan's trying to reach out. It started with little texts like, "Hope you're okay," and slowly turned into more anxious ones once she realized I wasn't sitting around doing nothing. Yesterday, she apparently flipped when her mom told her the boxes had arrived. "What are you doing? Why are you acting like this is over?" she texted. And I kept my reply short and simple. "Because it is over, Megan. You made your choice," I told her. "Now I'm making mine." She started crying, saying she just needed time to figure things out, that I was moving too fast, that this wasn't what she meant when she asked for a break. "What did you expect?" I asked. "That I'd sit here like some loyal puppy while you took your ex for a test drive? That's not how this works." "But what if I realize you're the one I want?" she sobbed. "Then you'll have learned a hard lesson about not taking people for granted," I said, and then I hung up. The strange thing is, I wasn't even angry anymore. I felt free. Every box I packed, every little task I crossed off the list, it felt like I was putting myself back together. Pieces of me I hadn't even realized I'd lost were slowly coming back. Fred came over again yesterday to help with the packing. He looked at me for a second and said, "You seem different, more focused." He was right. I am different. When Megan first told me she wanted to chase something with Chase, it felt like my whole world collapsed. But looking back now, I realize it wasn't my world falling apart. It was the fake one I'd been living in finally breaking down. I've still got more moves in the works. For now, I'll just say this. Sometimes, the best way to deal with someone treating you like a backup plan is to make sure you're no longer on the list at all. Stay tuned. This story's not over. And something tells me Megan's time to think isn't turning out quite the way she imagined. Things have escalated. So here's what's been going on. Remember how I applied for that job on the East Coast? Well, I got it. Couldn't have come at a better time. The house is under contract, closing next month. Everything's lining up. But that's just the beginning. Now here's where it gets interesting. Turns out Megan's little experiment with Chase isn't exactly the dream she was hoping for. Through mutual friends, I heard their rekindled spark fizzled pretty fast. Apparently, Chase hasn't changed much in the last 3 years, still the same flaky guy who cheated on her in college. Meanwhile, Megan's been trying to control the story on social media, posting vague quotes about finding yourself and trusting the journey. That kind of thing. So I decided to post something too just once. Sometimes when one door closes, better ones open. Looking forward to this new chapter. That's all I said. But wow, did that light up my inbox. Comments, Texts, messages, people congratulating me, asking about the move, and yeah, asking about Megan. I kept it honest and simple. We're not together anymore. She wanted to explore other options. So am I. That answer? It changed everything. Even the folks who were on the fence about the whole situation started seeing things differently. While Megan was out there posting inspirational fluff, I was just stating facts. Then the professional fallout began. Megan's freelance design work relies heavily on referrals. One of our mutual contacts, Natalie, 27, works in tech, used to send her a lot of client work. Natalie reached out and asked to meet for coffee. I need to know what's going on, she said. Megan's telling people you two are just taking time apart to grow individually, but something feels off. So I showed her the message, the one where Megan said she needed space to date Chase. Natalie's face said everything. I didn't have to trash talk or spread rumors. The truth was more than enough. By the end of the week, a bunch of Megan's potential clients had pulled back. Not because I told them to, but because, let's be honest, who wants to work with someone who treats commitments like trial runs? Megan noticed. Her texts started coming in faster. More desperate. Why are you telling people about Chase? You're ruining my reputation. This isn't fair. I just needed time to think. To that last one, I replied. You got what you wanted. Time and space. How I use mine is no longer your concern. Then came the cherry on top. Chase, in all his brilliance, posted a photo of the two of them at the same restaurant where Megan and I had our first date. Same table and everything. It was like she was trying to recreate our memories with him. It was sad and kind of pathetic. The post didn't stay up long, but long enough. Our friends saw it. And the last few folks still trying to defend her personal growth narrative? Yeah, they went quiet real fast. Even her own sister reached out to me. I'm so sorry about how she's handling this, she said. You deserve better. And you know what the most satisfying part is? I didn't have to be petty. I didn't seek revenge. I just lived my life, honest and free, while Megan tried to play both sides. But the truth? It always finds a way out. She showed up at my office yesterday, crying. Turns out Chase already pulled the same stunts that broke them up the first time, flirting around, being shady, not someone you'd exactly trust to hold your drink, let alone your heart. I made a huge mistake, she said through tears. I was scared of commitment. I thought maybe something better was out there, but I was wrong. You were the best thing that ever happened to me. I just looked at her. No, Megan. The best thing that ever happened to me was you showing your true colors before we got married. She tried to argue. She said we could fix this, go to counseling, that she'd earn back my trust. I shook my head. You still don't get it. This isn't about Chase anymore. It's about you thinking you could keep me on the back burner while you went off exploring. That's not love. That's convenience. She left, clearly wrecked. But me? I felt lighter than I had in months. The house closes next week. Most of my stuff is packed. My new life in Orlando starts in a month. Some people say I'm being too harsh. Everyone makes mistakes, they say. But this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Over and over again. Every message she sent at Chase. Every lie about where she was. Every time she made plans to press pause on us. Those were decisions. Anyway, I'll post another update once the move is done. But for now, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Thanks for following along with this whole roller coaster. This'll be the last update, and there's been some wild developments. First off, Orlando is everything I hoped it'd be. My apartment has a killer view of the bay. The job? Incredible. The team I work with actually cares about moving forward, building cool things, not drama. It's been a breath of fresh air. Now, back to how things wrapped up back home. The closing went off without a hitch. House sold above asking price. Megan didn't believe it until she actually drove by and saw the new owners moving in. But it gets better. Guess who messaged me? Yep, Chase. He sent this long, awkward message about how he never meant to cause problems. Claimed Megan was the one who reached out to him, months before she ever brought up taking a break. Turns out, she'd been laying the groundwork for her little exploration for a while. Quietly messaging Chase, testing the waters, all while I was planning a future with her. Here's the twist. Chase dumped her. His exact words? If she did this to you, she could do it to anyone. Oof. Meanwhile, her work situation tanked. All those freelance clients she had lined up, most of them went with someone else. I didn't badmouth her. I didn't need to. Word just spreads. One of her biggest former clients actually reached out to me. We heard about the broken engagement, they said. We're looking for someone who can actually commit long-term. Know any reliable designers? I pointed them to a talented acquaintance of mine. She got the contract. Karma? Maybe. Megan's social media turned into a full-blown emotional roller coaster. First came the sad quotes about heartbreak. Then came the angry posts about toxic people who can't handle growth. And finally, the overly forced happy stuff. The last post I saw was her saying she was launching her own design firm. 3 days later, she was sending out job applications. Last week, her sister contacted me again. Said Megan's been staying with their parents. Told them she needs time to heal. Then she said something that stuck with me. She really thought you'd wait for her. Her sister told me. When you sold the house and left, it shattered that fantasy. And the moment that really sealed it all? A video call with our old friend group. Just catching up, laughing, sharing stories. That's when it hit me. I'm not just moving cities. I'm moving forward. And I'm never looking back. So I was on a video call with a few old friends. They were swapping local gossip, the usual stuff, and someone mentioned they saw Megan at a coffee shop. Apparently, she was trying to explain to a potential client why her portfolio website was down. What she forgot, I was the one who built and maintained it. She had no idea how to renew her hosting account when it expired. But hey, not my problem anymore. Out here, life's coming together nicely. I joined a local rock climbing group, started taking Spanish lessons, and I even adopted a dog from a shelter. His name's Buddy. Great pup. Honestly, better companion than my ex-fiancée ever was. The tech scene here is awesome. Just last week, I was invited to speak at a developer conference. That never would have happened if I'd stayed back home, stuck in that rut. Funny how far you can go when you're not dragging dead weight behind you. Now, there was one final moment with Megan. She sent me an email, asked if I could send over some old images from our shared cloud account. Thing is, I'd already downloaded everything I wanted and shut the whole thing down weeks ago. Her message read, I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 3 years meant something. I didn't send a long reply. I just wrote back. You're right. Those years did mean something. They taught me what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson. Of course, there are still a few people saying I'm being too harsh, that I should be more forgiving, that maybe she just had a moment of confusion. But let's be clear, that wasn't a moment. It was a choice, a series of choices. She kept me on the bench while she chased what she thought was better. And if there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's this. Sometimes the worst things that happen to you lead to the best things. If Megan hadn't shown her true colors when she did, I might have married her. Might have found out years down the line, maybe with kids in the picture, who she really was. Instead, I'm here, in a beautiful city, at a job I love, surrounded by people who uplift me, not drain me, making new friends, starting fresh. Yeah, betrayal hurts, but the pain's long gone. What's left is gratitude for the bullet I dodged. So, to all of you who followed this journey, and for anyone out there going through something similar, hear me out. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for them to change their mind about you. Life's too short to be someone's backup plan. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is walk away and build something better. That's it for now. This chapter is closed, and I've never been more excited for the next one to begin. Take care. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button and tap the notification bell so you don't miss more real-life stories just like this one.